There it goes.
Yeah.
There it goes. I guess it's live. All right. Well, we'll start. Well, tonight we're going to talk about marketing plan and marketing a listing and how you want to get the word out there that you have a new listing. What would be your plan when you meet with the seller? You know, how would you present to yourself? What are you going to do, say, before it goes live, week 1, week 2, week 3, all the way out until it goes under contract? With the average days on market right now being like 38, you know, we kind of want at least, say, a 3 to 4 week marketing plan that we can tell our seller about up front. And then, you know, if it hasn't sold after that, then we can kind of basically wash and repeat a lot of what we did the first month. Obviously not in the same order, but, you know, kind of repeat a lot of that stuff and then go forward from there. Sounds good? All right. So after we've already met with the seller and we've already talked about price and we've already got the listing set up, and we're ready to go live, what are we going to do, you know, right before it goes live and preparing for it to go live as far as marketing? First would be in phase 1. So in phase 1, you're going to have, which is your most important, your photos and measure the home. Now, if you have a photographer that is doing your photos, they can also measure the home, and they can do a virtual tour or I'm drawing a blank, a Matterport, which is like where a person can walk through the home step by step at different impact points throughout the house to see the layout of the home. So you got to get that stuff done. Photos and measuring the home are requirements. The Matterport 3D tour, that's something that's optional, but if you want to let your seller know that you're doing it, then that, you know, is excellent. You want to also in phase 1, put the for sale sign in the yard. You want to get everything put into the MLS. You're not hitting it live yet, but you're going to ahead and input all your information in and have it ready to go. You're going to send out a company email notice, you know, and these are things that you can advertise to your seller that you're going to be doing. You know, pre-marketing, I'm going to send out a company-wide email to everybody in the company that this listing is getting ready to come soon. So if you, as far as anyone in our company, if anyone in the company has a buyer looking in that area, be prepared, this one's coming if you want to try to grab it before it goes on the market. You also want to prepare and produce your high quality flyers for the house. What would be your flyers criteria for this? Your just listed or coming soon flyers. If you're doing a coming soon listing, then you want to advertise a coming soon. If you're not doing coming soon and going straight live, you know, then your flyer will be new listed flyer. And then you want to discuss with your seller about possibilities of open houses and what they feel about social media posts. This is your phase 1, which I consider what you're going to do days leading up to the house going live. All right. So we've done everything in phase one. We're ready for it to go live. We've talked with our seller. The seller is open to open houses. The seller is okay with social media posts. We have the MLS ready to go. We have the sign in the yard. We have our photos and the house measured. And we've let everyone in the company know that you have this listing coming. Now, phase two. First step in phase two is you want to go live on the MLS. Go ahead and hit the button to make it live. So now it is active, it is for sale, and you are ready for your buyers. You want to ensure that it is syndicated to all of the syndicated websites that the MLS syndicates to, which with examples of that would be Trulia, Zillow, Redfin, Homes.com. There's a whole list of websites worldwide that this listing is going to be syndicated to. The number is upwards of, I want to say like 1,100 different websites that our listings get syndicated to. So, we want to let our seller know that we're not just going to put it on the MLS, but it's going to go on the MLS plus upwards of 1,100 other websites worldwide. Why do we want it to go worldwide? Because Charlotte is a very desirable city, and there is people that move here every day from other cities, from other states, from other countries, from other continents. So we want to make sure that we broadcast this new listing to as many people as possible. Now we want to get our virtual tour set up on the MLS and the Matterport. Get it set up. When you're inputting things on the MLS, on the property info tab, near the bottom, there is a box where you can put in the link for the Matterport and virtual tour. So if you have one, you want to put them in there. You want to now look at scheduling your first open house. You want to make your first round of social media posts, whether that be on Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, whatever social media posts you use. And we can also put those on the company's social media as well. You want to make sure that we get your new listing added to the company website. So we will make sure that it is on the company website. So anybody that comes to our website, they will see your new listing. And then you want to do your first round of passing out the flyers in the neighborhood for your open house or just listed, depending on how you want to target the neighborhood first. I would recommend you do a just listed flyer the day it went on the market, and then an open house flyer a couple days later, but also a couple days prior to the open house. So this is what you're going to do in phase two. Phase two is your start to the listing and your first couple days of being live. Again, we'll recap that. We go live on the MLS. We make sure it's syndicated to the other websites. We upload our virtual tour. We schedule our first open house, make first round of social media posts, make sure it's on the company website, and start passing out flyers for either just listed or our first open house. Now, phase three would be starting of week 2. Our marketing plan that we present to our seller in phase 3 would be, we held our open house. So we are going to start with following up with all leads from week 1, whether those leads came from the flyers, the talking with neighbors, the social media posts, the phone calls, the emails, the texts, or the open house itself. We want to make sure we follow up with all of our leads that we accumulated on week 1. We want to hit our reverse prospecting list in Canopy. So when you have a listing in Canopy, when you click on your active listings on the bottom, there's a tab that says reverse prospecting. The reverse prospecting is going to have a whole list of every agent in our board that has a client that has received our listing, whether the agent sent it to them in the auto email, or if the agent sent them a house and then they looked up this one and found it and clicked on it, or whatever the case may be. If they have a client that clicked on or viewed this house online, we're going to be notified in that list of who that agent is. And that agent has a number next to it, which is their client number. Now, we, of course, can't find out who their client is because it's their client. But we can start contacting these agents and say, hey, agent Yuri, your client number 123 has a possible interest in my listing. I would love to schedule a showing for you and your client, or let me know if you have any questions or anything I can help with about my home. I would love to put a deal together with you and your client. So this list can be pretty extensive, depending on how popular the home is. The list could be anywhere from, say, 100 agents to 500 agents. So obviously you're not going to hit the whole reverse prospecting list at once, but we start on that list. Then we're going to start our second round of social media and website posts about the listing. What we might include on our second round of posts is, we had a fantastic open house last week. A lot of people came through. If you weren't able to make it, please contact me. I can get you in for a private showing, something like that. Then we want to target news boards in the area with one of our flyers, whether this news board be at a coffee shop, a social hangout place, a barber shop. There's a lot of places that have news boards where you can pop in and pin a flyer, pin something to it, so that way you're getting more information out there about this new house. You want to talk with neighbors in the neighborhood about, do they know anybody thinking about moving into the community? Would they like to pick their new neighbor? Communicating with the neighborhood and letting them know you're out there targeting the neighborhood to try to find this new neighbor for them. See if they want to be a part of that. Are they interested in knowing of anybody that's moving in the community? And again, do they want to help pick their neighbor? And then the last part of phase 3 is we want to discuss with our seller the likes and dislikes from week 1. What did they see that we did that they liked? What did they see that we did that they didn't like? What do they feel is working? What do they feel is not working? Or is there anything they feel we're not doing as of right now? Staying in communication with your seller throughout the whole week is very key. And to let the seller know that we're going to do that is huge, because there's a lot of agents who don't do that. And we want to make sure our seller knows that we are working hard for them and we are doing everything we can to hopefully get their home sold. Mm-hmm. So staying in contact with them about that. Because there's things that may not be on here that your seller's like, oh, I think we should try to do this. So that's why we talk with them and find out what they feel they may want or need. And then if we're going to hold a second open house, we're going to plan and prepare for our second open house. So by now, at this point, we've explained to our seller everything we've done, everything we've received. We followed up with everybody from the first week. We have now completed our second week of marketing. Hopefully by now, we may have some solid interest. We may have an offer. If we don't have an offer, then that's fine. We're going to continue marketing, continue moving forward. Now we're going to move into phase 4, which would be our week 3. Week 3, we're going to do a second round of flyers into the neighborhood. Whether this flyer is, a home for sale flyer, a new open house flyer, if the seller had made a suggestion about maybe we should reduce the price, are we doing a price reduction flyer? In today's market at week 3, I feel it's too soon to do a price reduction since days on market is in the 30s. But if you have done one, that is an excellent end to do a new flyer, is check out our new price, check out our new house, come see it. So whatever that flyer is going to be, we're preparing our flyers for that week. We are going to follow up with all new leads from week 2. All the leads that came in from week 2, we're going to follow up with them. We are going to continue hitting that reverse prospecting list, because if it is a couple hundred agents long, if we can hit, say, the first 100 week 1, now we want to work on the next 100. Start hitting these agents and seeing who has a client that's interested that we can try to get into the house. Because as a list agent, our job is to do what? Get people into the home to look at it. Once we get them into the home, we have really done our job as far as marketing. Now it's up to the house to sell itself. Mm-hmm. So we're doing all of this just to get people into the home, to get people to look at it. That's our whole goal. After we do our reverse prospecting list, now we are going to do a targeted zip code blast. You can do that on, say, one of your social media outlets. Let's find the zip code that this house is in or one of the neighboring zip codes and do a blast to that zip code about this house that's for sale in the area. We want to make sure that everyone in the area knows, even if they're not in the market to buy a home, there are people that look around for their friends or their family and things like that. I have a friend of me and my wife's that if a house comes up for sale in their neighborhood, they send it to us. Mm-hmm. They're like, don't you want to move to our neighborhood? So don't think that just because people aren't looking to move, that these social media posts or these zip code posts can't be beneficial, because there are people like that are looking for friends or family. So we do that targeted zip code blast. We're going to do a third round of social media blast posts, whether it be on the company's social media post and website or your own personal, or a combination of both. We can tag both of them so that way it gets across all of them. And then we are going to sit down and discuss with the seller what is working and what is not working and what we would like to do from here on out. Because now at this point, we are looking at being on the market just over 3 weeks. And we want to see what type of leads we have, what type of feedback we're getting. When we sit down and discuss this point with the seller, what is working and what is not working, a lot of that is going to be coming from the feedback we have received from showings or from the leads that we've followed back up with. Are we hearing that the house is overpriced? Are we hearing that the layout is not working for a lot of people? Or are there issues with repairs or condition? What is the feedback and what is not working? And from these things, can we talk with our seller about, are they things that we can address and maybe fix or change? Some things you can't. If the feedback is coming back that the layout of the house is wonky and people just don't really care for the layout, well, that's something we can't really change, right? We can't change the layout. Or if they're saying that, the location in the neighborhood or the busy street, those things we can't change. But if we're getting feedback as far as it's overpriced or there's a bad smell, or the house has not been clean or show presentable, or you may get feedback as far as we've tried to schedule a showing and the owner has declined the showings. Those are things we want to talk about with our seller because those are things that we can change and fix. So we want to talk about those. And then we want to point out what are the things that are working. What are things that are giving us the most return, that are getting people to the house to look at it and view it? Because the things that are working are obviously things we want to continue to do and try to finesse or, try to improve on to make them work even better. Okay. So now we finished phase 4, which concludes week 3. Hopefully by now we're getting into 20 something days on market. Hopefully by now we have some type of offer. So now we want to sit down with our seller and go over the offer. Going over the offer isn't necessarily part of the marketing plan, but it's a result of the marketing plan. So how do we, go over the offer? We'll talk about that for a little bit. When we receive an offer from a buyer, first thing we want to do is acknowledge to the buyer's agent that we've received the offer. We will present it to the seller and we will be back in touch as soon as possible. Then we want to verify proof of funds. Are they paying cash or are they getting a loan? If they're paying cash, we want to make sure we have proof that they have the cash to support this offer. If they're getting a loan, we want to make sure we have a pre-approval letter that states that they've been pre-approved for this loan. And then we want to put together a net sheet for the offer exactly the way it is written. So when we can tell the seller, if you were to accept this offer the way it is written, here's how much money you would walk away with at closing. And then we want to take that offer over to our seller and present it to them. Go over the offer in person, go over the offer page by page because there's information on every page of that offer other than just, of course, the price. And we want to follow it up with the net sheet. That way we can show them if you were to take this offer the way it is written, here's what you will walk away with. Now, once you've presented that offer, the seller has 3 options. They can accept the offer, they can decline the offer and reject it, or they can counter it. That's the seller's 3 options. So you want to find out what they want to do with those 3 and then relay that information to the buyer's agent. Now, if we do not accept this offer, whether we reject it or counter it, then we still need to continue our marketing. So moving into after that point, now we need to look at, let's take what worked the best from our first 4 phases. Let's put those actions back into effect. And let's focus on those items that work the best and continue marketing that way. Let's continue letting everyone in the company know that the house is still for sale. So if they have a new buyer looking in that area, to bring them, continue with the reverse prospecting list, because again, that list is long and it can take a while to go through. Follow back up again with every showing that had come through. Call the agent that showed it. Look, hey, this is John with Mathers Realty. You showed my listing. I appreciate the feedback you gave me when you showed it. I'm just following up. If you haven't found a house for your client, we've done some changes, whatever they may be. Here they are. I would love to get you and your client back over here to look at the home again. Maybe, we can try to put a deal together. Follow up with all the agents that's shown it and see if that's a possibility. If you want to do a new flyer in the neighborhood, pass those out again. These are all the things you want to let your seller know up front when you're listing their home that here is your plan, here is your ideas, and here's what you're going to do to market the home, especially in the first month. And that marketing plan is going to be very key to have to present to that seller, because if they're interviewing you and another agent, having this marketing plan can set you apart, because there's a lot of agents who may not even have a marketing plan. They're just going to say, well, I have a marketing plan. I'll put it into action when I list the home. Well, if you have yours written out and spelled out, you can share it with your seller and say, here's exactly what I'm going to do in phase 1, 2, 3, 4, and then repeat. So that way, your seller can be prepared. Your seller knows what you're going to do, and then you make sure you stick with what you're going to do and follow through. So hopefully you can get the house sold.
And just keep them updated.
And keep them updated. That's the biggest thing, is staying in contact with your seller. When you have the house listed, you want to talk with your seller at least once or twice a week, every week. Even if it's to let them know, hey, I'm just checking in with you. My marketing plan is in practice. We're doing everything, like we talked about. I don't have any new information as of now, but as new information comes in or as new leads come in, I will let you know. But just want to let you know I'm working towards selling your home, and I'll keep you updated. Because the last thing you want to do is have your seller think that you forgot about them, you've quit, you've left, and you've ghosted them. So make sure you stay in contact with them, talk with them at least once or twice every week while you have their house listed. Everybody that's watching, I've put together this marketing plan in the phases. I can send it to you if you like. Just let me know who wants it, and I can send that out. I know this was kind of a fairly quick class, but I mean, it's really not that extensive as far as how we're going to set up a marketing plan, how we're going to let our seller know what we're doing in the first 3 to 4 weeks of trying to list and sell their home. But it's something we all as agents want to have ready, so when we get a listing, we have it, we're prepared with it, and we can present it to our sellers and let them know what we're going to do. Any questions?
No, everything's pretty straightforward.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, I appreciate the ones that are watching. I appreciate y'all keying in. If y'all have any questions, just reach out to me. Let me know. I'll answer those. And like I said, if you want a copy of the marketing plan, just let me know and I will send it out. Well, I appreciate it, everybody, and I hope y'all have a great evening.